Go.
Hi, everybody. My name is Michael Graham and with EXP Realty, of course. We're having a mastermind today with myself, Ben Marquez, Candace Palmer, and Morphia. Say your last name for us, Apostolo.
Apostolos.
Apostolis, sorry. The format of this is going to be a discussion around 4 topics that we've each picked, each for 15 minutes. Ben's going to be talking about the importance of a calendar and building a calendar. Candace is going to be talking about social media and what she does to apply that in her business. Morphia is going to be talking about something very relevant, adapting to COVID-19. And I'll be talking about how to answer this question. Should we wait to purchase? When is the best time to buy or sell? So yeah, without further ado, we'll have Ben start us off. And then after this 15-minute segment, right around 10 minutes, we'll have a discussion. Maybe the other people on the panel here will be able to kind of put their, or give their input on this and answer any questions or ask questions if they have any. So go ahead, Ben.
Excellent. Well, thank you for the intro, Mike. I'm surprised you didn't say the good-looking Benjamin Marquez.
The beautiful Benjamin Marquez.
Hey, so you know what? I really wanted to talk about this topic because it's something that more than ever this year I've really focused on, and I really believe it changed my life. I'll start it off with a question for every single one of you, and just each one of you, just one answer. Tell me, what do you think attracts people to get into real estate? You go first, Michael.
Schedule, man. No schedule. Freedom. Money and freedom. The 2 hardest things to attain at exactly the same time.
Awesome. I agree. How about you, Candace? It could be the same answer.
Yeah, I was going to say that, I mean, the money and the freedom is why I got into real estate. So
absolutely. How about you, Morphia?
I would have to say this is one profession that doesn't discriminate with age. You can do it till the day you die.
Oh, that is also a very, very good option. But I would personally tell you that if we take a poll, the very biggest reason why people join real estate is flexibility, right? Flexibility. People say big money. You can make big money for long periods of time until the day you die. But it's all on your schedule, right? It's all on your schedule. So I think that is absolutely 100% true. What makes real estate so amazing is the fact that you have flexibility, right? You have flexibility to do whatever you want to do. Now, here's the one thing I think where most agents fail or barely get by in this industry. And I think it's because just because we have the flexibility to build whatever schedule we want, it doesn't mean that we don't build a schedule, right? I think people confuse flexibility with not doing something, right? Just because you can build your schedule the way you want it. So like if you want to do something, you still got to make a plan, right? So if you say, hey, you know what? I really want to work. I want to get as healthy as possible. Okay, that's a wish, right? Like it's a thought. But if you want to actually make it happen, you have to create a plan to make sure what steps you're going to take to make that happen. So I would say, to me, one of the biggest things, and I've seen big producers, I mean, I produce at a really high rate and I was still all over the place. Doesn't mean you can't produce. All it means is you're less, you could do a lot less than you would be able to do if you have everything planned, right? So that's the biggest reason why I wanted to pick this topic. It really changed my life. I really do believe that this is the best job you'll ever have if you can actually get business, but you will ultimately struggle if you don't make yourself the most perfect schedule in the world, right? Build it the way you want to build it. If you want to play golf in the morning every single day, then do all your lead generating in the afternoon. It's that simple. Doesn't mean you don't have to do it. You just have to have a plan, right? I mean, what job will allow you to do that? I mean, anyone here, do you know of a job that you could go there and then switch it up, say, hey, for this whole month, I'm going to play golf every morning and I'll do my work in the afternoon? Could you do that anywhere else?
No.
You could do that here, which is pretty incredible. So I'll start off with the little mastermind. I wanted to show a couple of tricks that I actually, that I've learned. One, and this is from other masterminds from top producers that I've attended. The key in building a really nice schedule is you start off with your personal events or what you trying to achieve personally with your family and your life, right? So that would be how much time you want to spend with your loved ones, whether it's your spouse, whether it's your kids, whether it's your friends. Like, are you spending enough time with them? Do you wish you would spend more time with them? Well, there's no wishing here. You could actually balance it out and you can say, okay, I want to have the strongest marriage, the strongest friendships. So in order to do that, I need to put X amount of time every week into seeing these people or talking to them, right? So you start off with that. You put what you say, for example, in my example is, I want my kids when they grow up to say, man, my dad was always there for me. I know it's impossible for me to be there all the time, but the key thing is I want the majority of the time for me to be there, right? And how do I make sure that I am there all the time or the majority of the time? I do it by scheduling in my meeting, right? Where I'm not budging from it. I'll give you an example. Today on Thursday, I'm leaving early at 4 p.m. because my little girl has a dance recital. And I'm spending the rest of the afternoon with her. And I knew it from last week. And nothing's gonna move that. I already made plans. If business comes in, I have one of my associates help me with that. That isn't nothing. I'm not gonna have to scramble when the day gets here, right? We also have a niece that's having a birthday party. You know, we have to drive. It's south of here. It's about 2 hours away. I know way in advance. I know the plans. I know everything. I also know what time I'm coming back. What that does for my brain too, it doesn't just make me really do what I want to do in life, but it allows me when I get that phone call that says, hey, Ben, I need your help. I already know in my brain what's open. I don't need to think about it. I don't need to pull up my calendar. I know that if someone calls and they need me to do something on a Saturday and it's an emergency, I can do it anytime after 4 p.m. And if I can't, guess what? I have an associate on call to make sure that it's taken care of, right? So that is just one tip that I really wanted to make sure you start off with your personal life. Once you have your personal life, for me, I have a real estate team. I personally add what is the right amount of time to spend into their development, right? Everyone that I brought on my team is putting their confidence on me that they're going to improve their career by them being with me. So I'm saying, okay, so I need to figure out how can I do that? How can I genuinely look at my calendar and say, I am giving them as much as they're giving me, if not even more. And so to me personally, what that looks like is 2 meetings, 2 45-minute meetings, one on Monday to go over the week and go over stats, and one on Thursday to make sure they hit the goals for that week, right? Quick. That's 2 hours of my day, of my week. Then I also have 30-minute one-on-ones with them on Tuesdays. If you look at my calendar, it's all color coordinated. So it visually lets me know what I'm doing more of, so I can balance my calendar out. So I started with family, with my personal life. Then I go for my company, right? What can I do for my team? Now, the third one I do is I need to produce too. I can't rely on my team doing all the business. So you know what I do is once I actually need to find 2 hours to lead generate in my day.
And
Like,
you're 10 minutes, by the way.
okay.
You're 10 minutes, so.
Excellent. So I'll finish it up. I have to figure out, in order for any agent to be successful, you need to lead generate 2 hours a day. If you want to perform at a really high volume, you need to lead generate 2 hours no matter what. So I need to space it out and make sure I have that. On top of it, you also need to make sure you at least have 1 hour to follow up with any paperwork, any admin stuff. So with that, I mean, where I'll end it, there's obviously a lot more that needs to be covered in way more than 50 minutes. But I will tell you, if you take control of your day, your brain frees up. And if your brain is free, you can make better decisions. There's a reason why the wealthiest people in the world, most of the time, don't even think what they're going to wear in clothes. If you really do some research, all the top billionaires usually wear the same clothes over and over again. They're saying the power of making a decision lies in having to make less decisions throughout the day. So I'll end it with that.
Good job, Ben.
All right.
The two big takeaways I got from that are, one, lead generate for 2 hours every day that you're scheduled to work. And two, schedule your calendar year with your family and your personal and your vacation time first. That way, when you're done scheduling all that time, you can say, okay, this year I'm working 230 days, or I'm working 250 days, or 240 days. And then you know that those 240 days, you're going to do those 2 hours of lead generation. Obviously easier said than done. But when we used to coach with the Mike Ferry organization, and there's a lot of organizations that say the same, that's the way they plan your year, right? Is schedule all your free time and all the vacation and everything you want to do for fun, and then tell me what days you're working so that you can make sure and get that prospecting in there.
Well, I think there's also a lot of psychology to it, Mike. Like, there's a lot of psychology. Like, you'll call yourself out. You'll be like, oh, man, I'm really not working. Like, I'm going to have to talk to my wife, and we're going to have to cancel a couple of those trips because for me to hit the goal, it's impossible. So it's almost like holding yourself accountable. You'll be able, or two things are going to happen. You're either going to be like, oh, I'm taking too much time off, or you're going to be like, man, my life is sweet. I love it. This is how I'm doing it for the rest of my life, right?
I like it.
Yeah. So how about you, Candace? What are your takeaways?
I think that I have neglected to schedule my family time, and it kind of brings me to like a little bit emotional place, because I think that that's the people that suffer the most. And I had that conversation with an agent on my team this morning, because she brought up about having balance, and she said that, you know, it's never going to be the client that feels it, right? The stress and stuff. And she said that the people that are going to feel it are going to be my family. And I was like, man, it just like hit home. And so that's exactly it. Like, I'm poor Violetta, you know, because I am a high producer. Like, I always, you know, a driver. And it is one of the first things that I will let go in order to keep doing the things.
Well, I would give you some advice when it comes to that. I think the other thing that really helps is, like, if you're not putting the things you're doing with Violetta, with your daughter. So it also makes you feel guilty when you do let go of something, but you will feel better as a professional, as a mom, if you start documenting all the stuff. Like, if you look at me, I'm putting be home by 4, Olive dance recital at 4:30, 5:30, hang out with family for the rest of the day, right? So now it's easy for me to be like, if I need to cancel an event, I don't feel bad. Like, I can make better decisions as to when I can cancel, when I can't, because I'll go, dude, I've already spent 2 days with them. Like,
you're like, that's enough. I'm kidding.
Yeah. Well, in a way, I think I can sit down with the family, with my wife, and go, babe, is it okay if I this is an important situation I got to attend. And I spend a bit of time with the family. Like, I think this is, at this point, I got to focus a little bit more. And
We're
it's
at 15 minutes, just FYI.
okay. Sorry. But yeah, I think documenting it, Candace, it's going to change. You're going to feel better. I think a lot of times you do a lot already. You just don't see it.
I know, you're right. Thank
Mark, do
you.
you have any questions or anything you want to add to that topic?
I know we all said that this job gives us flexibility, but sometimes I find flexibility is actually a curse because you always think, you know, why should I do this at 10 o'clock? I can lead generate later. And we tend to postpone things. And next thing you know, you go home, you feel a little bit crappy because you didn't have a productive week. And that's why you need to stick, like Ben says, to a calendar. And you need to condition yourself to think and change your mindset because you can be all over the place. I myself too, you know, I produce and everything, but I can squirrel, and I've done definitely way better. But it's hard to be focused, and especially if you're running a team and you're running a business. Sometimes you might start doing admin work in the middle of your lead gen, and all that has to stop. It has to be one thing at a time and sticking to it. And you're better off sometimes working 2 hours a day than sitting in the office for 7, 8 hours and you hardly did anything, right? Because we're just all over the place. So definitely a calendar. And I know Candace, remember Candace, when we were trying to create calendars, right, a couple of years ago, we talked about it and we said, it's so hard. It was hard for me too, to stick to a calendar. I would forget to look at what I had to do. Let's put it that way.
Right.
So I had to retrain my brain to think differently and be more systematic with what I do.
Right.
Yeah.
So look, just to give you an example, it takes a long time. It took me months. That's a picture from far from my calendar. And also, like, I have it up all the time. Now, like, you remember, just like you have a hard time seeing it now, you can train yourself to always want to see it. Like, now I feel weird not knowing what's coming next.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna tell you from someone, and you
Yeah.
guys know me. Like, you guys know me. I'm like a cowboy. Like, if something needs to be done, I'm like, yeah, let's go. I feel so much better in having a plan now. Like, I feel like I have a plan and I'm not just shooting everywhere, you know?
I think you feel more in control.
Right. Absolutely.
And this business, we have to be in control because, I mean, every deal is different. Every day is so different than it was yesterday. So it's all about control and focus and systems.
I love it. All right, let's wrap that topic up and let's go to Candace next with social media.
Well, I love social media because I feel like there's so it's kind of like real estate. There's so many ways to do it and so many opportunities inside of it. And so I think that by building the following on social media platforms, it's just, you know, it can be another pillar to business. And so I think that, and I think people get to instantly, you know, find you, connect with you. And I think that's one of the biggest pieces in real estate and, you know, gaining business, developing your sphere of influence is connecting. And it gives you the ability to connect without actually physically having to go and connect. And so I found that there's massive power in the social media. So, and I think that between like I really am active on 2 platforms, Facebook and Instagram mostly. And I think that there are 2 different complete audiences, which is interesting. And I tend to gravitate a little more towards Instagram. But I think there's definitely gold on Facebook as well. And I love the fact that, you know, we have the stories as well. And I use those on a daily basis to really showcase like what's involved in being an agent and in the business, because I think oftentimes people think that our life is pretty glamorous, and while it has a glamorous side to it, it's a grind also. And so I think that it allows people to have a peek inside of you know, what really goes into doing this business. And I love to be able to share my personality on the stories. I think that comes through a lot clearer in that way. People can often decide if they want to if they align with you, if they'd like to work with you based on your social media. And I think it could be, super powerful. And then I try to stay consistent with my posts as well. And so that way, I try to also share personal stuff there, as well as, proof of business, right? Like, under contracts, just sold. And then also I've been doing, I like to be able to be creative on there. And so I try to mash it all up together, the creativity also with the business aspect of it. And so through the COVID, we weren't able to get out and about. And so I really leaned into the social media, and I was able to start on a weekly basis. We were highlighting small businesses. So we would make a fun video of all the agents on my team, and then we incorporate that business into our video, and then we would partner with that business and do a live streaming video, and then also allow them to do a giveaway to our followers. So that was a lot of fun to kind of develop that giveaway and build brand awareness, deepen the relationship with that small business, and then also offer something of value and promote our local community. So I found that. Go ahead.
Of which small business, like just
so we actually took turns with all the agents on my team. Everybody got to promote someone inside of their sphere of influence who owned a local small business. So I love to drink wine, and I'm part of a wine club at a local wine bistro, Rotten Grapes. So I featured them one week, and then they gave away a wine club tasting for 1 month. And so I interviewed her about her business and the things that were changing during COVID for her and what was going to carry through after we were on the other side of it. And so I think that it allowed the business owner to really expose themselves on a platform where no one was really talking about that kind of stuff. So it worked well. And then another agent did, like her friend owns the Board and Brush. It's where you go make a sign at with a stencil and all this stuff and paint. So she was able to showcase her business and how she was shifting in the COVID and sending, people could buy like these take-home projects. And then another business we did was a tequila, a girl that's started a tequila brand. And so that was fun to give her some exposure. She was like dropping off like at home tequila or margarita mixes with the tequila. So that was kind of fun. So we gained new followers through that and just gave small businesses a platform. So that was a lot of fun.
Was that all on Instagram, or did you do it on Facebook as well?
Yeah, so we kind of tried, we started out, because you can make Zoom go live on your social media platforms. So like this, we could have made live. So we started out on Facebook, and then but we're all a little more active on Instagram. So we switched it to Instagram Live, and then we realized, it's like failing forward. We realized you weren't able to do like multi-people on Instagram Live. So we just took it down to, instead of all of us being on the call, we took it down to just that person that brought the small business to the interview. They're the ones that interviewed them, but we all partook in the video leading up to driving the traffic to watch our live.
How did you guys interview the person if there was only one person on the Zoom live? Were they on the phone with them or something?
No, like this, like Zoom, like on the Zoom live, they would just interview. We would all discuss the questions prior, and then so that agent knew what was the agenda for the interview. And then they just interviewed interviewed that small business on Instagram Live.
Okay. So that small business owner was on a Zoom chat with your real estate agent. So there was two people.
Yep.
But can you have like 4 people like this, or just the 2 people?
I believe only on, it was our experience, only on Facebook could you do more than 2 people. So that was the drawback to Instagram. But we felt like our following was a little bit stronger on Instagram. And so,
All you need really was one realtor and one business owner anyway, right?
yeah, yeah. Initially, it was all of us interviewing on Facebook, and then we moved to Insta. So then we just downsized the Zoom call to just 2 people.
So you can do it live on Insta and then post it on Facebook later, so people can
Yep.
watch it, right, as a story or whatever.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Cool.
And so now since, we're open back up, we're still going to do it. But I think we're going to move into like a food drive now. We're partnered with a local food bank. And so we're going to start doing a food drive and then set up the interview prior to, find out the need. And that'll be the video that goes out. And then we'll, once we go make the drop at the food drive, then we're going to, or at the food bank, we're going to film a video and interview, whoever accepts the food that's there. So that way we can promote that. We can also give back, show people that we are part of the community and that we care. It's more than just about the transactions for us.
That's cool.
Yeah, I love the fact that before all this happened, people were using Facebook and Instagram or TikTok, all that stuff, on a very different level. And it kind of isolated you from being with people. It just made it very easy. And everybody, I find, especially the younger generation, became kind of very, you almost want to call them loners. Where now with this COVID-19, it has really taken it to an extremely different level. And I think it's amazing. Like Candace says, gives you the opportunity to communicate with other people, promote their businesses, engage with them. So I like that. I really like the fact that it's taken to a different level than what it used to be. This is now more about the people and what can I do for you and how can we help?
Yeah, for so long I wanted to connect more with business owners because I really value those relationships. And, I want to do business with people that are like-minded. So it's more fun for me when I can be, in a transaction with someone that thinks a little more like I do. And so it was a really fun little experiment, and it kind of just kept, like, the evolution of it was just awesome. And now that we're gonna give back, food is just, it just makes me happy, and all my agents are super excited and involved. And I think that also really created the team culture as well. So it was really more than just about business.
Well, yeah,
Culture
I love that you're so good with social media, Candace, and I love that, like you said, you used to tell your story. I think because that's what it is, right? Like ever since I met you, you have some big goals, and a lot of those big goals are giving back. And I think that also helps you surround yourself with people that, like you said, are like-minded like you. I think social media is powerful like that.
I do too.
Yeah, that's so cool. I
How
love.
many followers do you have, Candace?
I don't know. Let me see.
And do you post your personal and your real estate stuff on the same Instagram account, or do you have 2 separate ones?
I have 2 separate ones. And so I initially turned my personal page into my business page as I had more followers, and then I just created a personal page. And so, I have 2,229 followers.
Wow.
So on my business.
On your business?
Mm-hmm.
But Candace is great. She's great about using it. And you have to be consistent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I only have 791 on my personal, so not a lot on my personal.
That's awesome.
So,
Do you ever consider TikTok?
I try to play around with it. It's just, man, it's a very creative thing, and an agent on my team is starting to kind of dabble, and so I think I'll just let her. I think the problem for me is that I don't have a ton of extra time really right now to focus on just being that creative and learning it right now. I'm kind of, really in the throes of building my team. And so it's, unfortunately, I just don't have a lot of extra time to do it.
What is TikTok? I mean, it's like playing charades on an app that is like communicating just like through Instagram, except you're doing some sort of dance or some sort of something, right? It's like a challenge.
Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff on there. I mean, you could just, you know, you could take it really as far as you want. And so, yeah, you can participate in the challenges, or you can just create your own content and your own ideas. So that's what I mean. It's like, oh, it's overwhelming because it's just, I mean, I feel like you've got to be a movie producer to get on there. I mean, I'm sure that's.
Yeah, it seems super difficult to me too, Candace. You're not the only one. I was like, what? But it's like if you.
That's how I felt about Facebook and Instagram up until like literally a week or two ago that I started putting stuff on there.
Now look at you go.
I know, dude. Your feed looks awesome. The TikTok, it's like Instagram and YouTube had a baby and TikTok came out.
I like.
Yeah, it was geared more to the younger generation. Like I know my grandkids are on it. And I think if I was to go on it, I'd probably be embarrassed.
No,
But now they're starting. Yeah, you are getting more and more people involved. And I think like this morning, actually, in our meeting, Braden Dennis brought it up, and he said that I think there's smaller clips, and you can also add music to them. Where I think on Instagram you're not allowed. With TikTok, you can.
Yeah.
They have the rights to, to, I guess, certain songs or music, and you can get away with that.
Instagram posts, you're really not supposed to have music in the background when you post something?
Yeah, they'll flag it. I do it, and some of them still stay. So it's but it's interesting because you can
copyrights on the songs, or
even if you buy it and go the right way, like we have bought it on Splice, they still flag it. But you can have. It's interesting because Ben's Instagram is not a business account, and mine is, so I cannot add music to my stories, but Ben can. And so sometimes I'll make something on my personal and try to share it to my business. It still gets a little bit flagged, but.
Do you like that, Ben, having your personal and business all combined?
Yeah, because you know what? It is work. Like it is work to get on there and do social media. And although I would love to share, like I actually more and more as I'm doing this business, I think it is not just a tool for us to get business, but I think it's almost like our duty to educate our clients and to help them with more than just real estate, right? So I love that Candace does that. So eventually I'll get to it, but it's a lot of work for me. Like I'll spend like an hour trying to figure out like what to write, what to put, it just like, I mean, luckily I have a lot of business. So I choose that part over the social media because I'm not as good as Candace. I guarantee you Candace takes like a quarter of the time that I take to do that.
You know, the real secret is, which I have found to be beneficial is I utilize my team a lot too. I've had them to start taking over my stories every week. And so that way our followers are seeing our whole team. And then two of them are way more creative than me. And so it's so nice to all of us to contribute to the post and to share everything. And while it makes them, because they share it to their Instagram, like, the business, my production. So it makes them look more successful. And then in turn, they help me with the posting as well so that I look more creative. And so it's like this win-win. And that's what we had on our call today. One of my agents said, I love that we can all kind of bring a different element to this team. And, it really makes us a team.
Well, it's a group effort.
Your team, Candace?
What's that, Mike?
How many people on your team?
There's 4 of us.
Okay. 3 buyer's agents and yourself, or is it assistant 2 buyer's agents?
Yeah, right now we have 3 agents, and then myself, and then a virtual assistant.
Cool. Well, we're at 16 minutes on that. Anything else on this topic before we go to Morphia?
No, thank you. That to
Candace,
me,
that was fantastic.
It was awesome, Candace. To me, you just saved me a lot of time. I'm just gonna have my team take over. Go.
Yeah.
Well, whoever is more capable of doing it, whoever does it best, right?
Right.
Yeah, where you can have them they can post it to their story, but just tag you, so then you can just add it to your story. So you can do it that way too, if you don't want them to log in,
Awesome. No, I love it.
Let's add it to our
Yep.
calendar, guys.
Yeah.
Social media.
Seriously.
Okay, Morphia, you ready to start?
I am.
Morphia, the infamous Morphia, is going to be talking about adapting to COVID, and you're on the clock.
All right. Now, I think that's all we breathe and live for the past few months is COVID-19. And I don't think in my lifetime, and if my parents were alive, I don't think they would ever expect anything like this to happen. I mean, it's like, it's a pandemic, it's global. And the feeling I got from this when it hit us, I realized as time went by, how small the world really is. And everything just became a little bit more tighter. I don't know if you guys, felt that, but that's how I felt. All of a sudden the world was just very small because we're all experiencing the same situation. And I think it has to be one of the most sensitive and emotional and challenging times ever in our history. And of course, it affects every business. It has affected our business for sure, because our business deals with people. We interact with people quite a bit. Number one, I mean, you're showing them property, you're meeting them at their home if it's a listing. When it's time to close, you're going to meet them at title. So there's a lot of human connection, and we had to learn to adapt in very different ways. At the same time, respecting their sensitivity and how they feel about it. Just to give an example, when kind of things started getting a little bit easier, maybe the past 2 or 3 weeks, I was showing property, and I always wear my mask. I wear gloves. And the reason I do that, my client says, "Oh, you're wearing a mask?" I said, "It has nothing to do with, if you want to wear it." I said, "You can." But for me personally, if I'm going to go in a house and they see me, the neighbors, that I am a realtor, I want them to know that I am respecting their environment. That's how I see it. And the same thing when I walk into open houses and somebody's holding an open house and agents make comments, "Oh, why are you wearing a mask? You're wearing gloves." So I'm always very, very cautious, not only for myself, but the people around me. And I think that's important. I've also noticed with open houses, people are being quite very relaxed about it when they're coming in, but I still try to keep my distance. I write their information down. I'll write it myself, ask them what their info is. I can jot it down and jot it to my database. I find that another thing that I'll be doing is I'm shooting out more text messages. Candace, I know she does with social media. I don't really do social media, but it's easier now to pick up the phone. And I found that agents who have a hard time picking up the phone and making the call, I'll tell agents of my team, pick up the call. You're not going to sound salesy. You're just going to say, "Hey, I'm here for you. Anything you need, please let me know. I'm here to help you." And you got to do it sincerely, because we are here to help everybody else out. So definitely there's more calls. There's more text messaging. You can do a lot of posts like on Facebook regarding what's going around with the COVID-19, with our economy. And I just feel you just have to keep, no matter what, you got to keep people abreast of what our market is like, because they still want to know. I know they're very engaged in their COVID-19 little bubble, but people are still wanting to know what's going on. It's a good distraction. So that's one thing, like I said, I try to tell my agents, don't feel like you're being salesy when you're offering information, because it's not information. In our business, I think we're offering a value. That's what it comes down to. And I find that kind of helps a lot. That makes a big difference. Let's see. I know things have changed I'm sure for you guys too. There's no more signing, right, at title companies for the most part. I know they're opening up now. I had one client that kind of freaked out on the last day of closing. He was literally going to cancel the deal because we told him that the title rep will go over to their house and get signatures. His wife does have asthma, and he was really nervous about that. So he was literally going to cancel the deal on closing. And then we made him feel comfortable. We had them do it in the garage. So the title lady came in, marked off wherever he needed to sign. She stepped away. She went back to her car, and he came in. He went and signed, and we finally got the deal to close. So that's why I find it very important. You got to really respect how other people are feeling. So I'd rather be more cautious and be very careful, because you don't know who you're going to run into and how people are going to feel. So I don't know. I mean, what are your experiences with this COVID-19? You guys seen any difference with your clients, or just the way you, obviously the way you go about things?
Yeah.
I'm like Morphia. I'm more conservative. I like to wear a mask and gloves when I go to the grocery store. I did last time I met a buyer out. We were touring with her and her daughter, and I have like a survival pack for every car that we have and our house. And it's a Ziploc, and it has a spray bottle with Everclear so that I can kill germs on my
Right.
mask, whatever. I have gloves and I have hand sanitizer. And so I brought that with me, and I said, do you guys want to wear a mask? I have some for you, or do you want me to wear a mask? And they didn't. They were like, no, if it's just going to be us and we're going to keep our distance and walk through this big house, we're totally fine. So that's how I toured a few properties with them, is just kind of keeping distance, opening stuff up. And then obviously for me personally, if I'm anywhere in public where other people have been touching things, then I immediately sanitize my hands, and I never touch my mouth or face anymore until I've actually come home and washed my hands thoroughly. But what I got from your share was erring on the conservative side so that you can be a good example for other people, and just kind of feeling out, where they're at. And, I also heard your adaptability, right? Like that adaptability that you bring to the table when that client wanted to cancel and you figured out a solution, which I agree with you. If you're sitting with somebody outside, the chances of you, getting COVID are a lot less, if they're not like sneezing right on you or what have you, especially if you were wearing masks. But no, that was really good things to share. I had a win on a listing that I put on the market. Our plan was to list the property at a very aggressive price, probably somewhere in the range of $5,000 to $10,000 less than what the fair market value was. And so the plan was listed aggressively. We had a Matterport virtual tour. And in the captions and the realtor remarks, I put showings are reserved for these times on Saturday and Sunday for people that have submitted offers with pre-qualifications only. So I was able to field 2 offers before they even came and looked at the property. And lo and behold, those were the 2 only offers that came in actually between Saturday and Sunday. And since the sellers left out of town, I was a little more lax on Sunday. I let a couple people show the property on Sunday that hadn't written offers, just because we blocked those 2 times. But I was able to work these offers against each other so that I did an as is. I bid them up to a higher price point, and they just move forward with the bins, or just accepting the property the way it is without any repairs. So overall successful. So I think COVID has given us an opportunity, I think, to streamline our business a little bit, with more qualified people and that sort of thing, which isn't a bad thing. I hope that we continue to be that efficient. Anyway, I'll show you.
You have those, for example. I mean, we closed a deal last week with somebody out of state, and he never saw the house. We did FaceTime Live with him. And that's also where we come in, where we talk about trust with the people you work with, and loyalty, because that is so super important, especially today, when you have somebody who's out of state and is looking to buy a property. And the only way they're going to see it is with these some videos or FaceTime Live. And we've done a whole bunch of those. And some people still choose to go that route. I think it's kind of 50-50 right now in the video tours, FaceTime Live, and then the live showings. And I find, like you said before, when you meet them at a property, they're not too concerned about wearing masks and everything. And I find it a little bit odd, because I'm like you, I'm very conservative and I'm very cautious, but I take all the precautions that I have to take. And if that's how they feel, as long as we keep our distance, there's times that, they walk into the house, it might be a family of 5. I just let them be instead of following them around. And then they come out, if any questions, or if we need to go back in, we'll do it more on a 1-to-1 basis. And
Right.
There's also where people have their home listed. There's one couple, they're expecting a baby, and they really want to sell their home. They have to sell their home, but they figured, you know what, baby's coming on the way, canceling all showings. So they went off the market for a while.
Yeah. I mean,
And I can totally understand that. You have to respect that.
my biggest takeaway, I just want to add my 2 cents, is I love, like you said, you're giving people the option. You're taking your precaution, but you're respecting people's choice at the end of the day, right? Like, we need to protect ourselves, but we also owe it to the public to still serve them in the best possible way we can, right? So like,
And we're all, exactly.
yeah, so I love that you're taking that precaution. I'm taking that precaution, and I think I think the people that aren't taking it, you know what? They have the choice, and that's okay. And we, in our side, are going to do everything we can to still help them without putting our families at risk. Because at the end of the day, that's it, right? We want to protect them, but at the end of the day, everyone can do whatever they want, right? So I love that.
We got to do our bit for sure. And I think especially us, because we're so out there, we set a good example of how we go about interacting with people, because we're very connected with our people, especially face-to-face situation. So
it shows your professionalism, that you care so much about them that you're willing to take all that extra precaution. I think so. That's me. Yeah, that's just how I feel about that subject, and that's what I got out of what you said. So I love it.
Candace,
No, I think that it's definitely allowed us to see where we can be more efficient with time, and also to realize like everything doesn't need to be done. Like the sense of urgency kind of was lifted a little bit for me, and I feel like I've been able to have a little bit more grace on myself, and less pressure to realize that things don't have to be, like right this second. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I've noticed that too. It's true. I find people are spending more quality time with their family members. I mean, they're all stuck under one roof altogether. And that's one thing that there's a lot of good stuff that's going to come out of this COVID-19. We do have the bad stuff we hear in the news, and it's very unfortunate, people losing their lives at any age, regardless. And that's devastating. But then again, I find that it's brought us closer to our families, and people are being very creative and strategic. I mean, I see all sorts of things they do, and it just blows my mind. I love it. And of course, you have the homeschooling. If you were to ever ask maybe yourself, hey, would I homeschool my kid? You'd probably say no. But now we have no choice, and you have to get it done, and it's working out. We are working things out, and that's incredible. I love that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Good stuff. Okay, we're at 13 minutes on that one. So anything else on COVID? Don't get it, maybe? That would be a good.
I think
okay.
That one in.
I think
A little bit on your leg, if you did get it, just a little like on your ankle, but not like higher than the knee.
Having fun.
on your toe hairs.
Maybe on Ben's nipple, just the left one.
Yeah, they're small anyways.
We're going to actually turn this in to somebody. Somebody's going to watch this, maybe. I don't think so.
Can I just say one thing?
Yes.
In the middle of texting, communicating with your clients, especially the one that you know very well, or even your clients, I find that drive-bys work great. You just call them if they're home. Hey, you know what? I'm outside, and even just saying hi and waving to them, it makes their day. And then I have like clients who are older. I'll do the same thing with them. And one lady last week, God bless her, she's 80 years old, and she goes, "Oh my God, Morphine," she says, "you really made my day." And I didn't have to be, you can do it from a distance. And I think that helps. I have somebody else on May 30th. He's turning 81. And I'm just going to go by his door and drop him, a few goodies and stuff, something he likes. And then I'll just call him and say, hey, just look outside your door. So there's a lot of stuff that we can do just to make somebody's day.
Yeah.
And also you stay connected with your clients.
Yeah, that's powerful.
It's very powerful.
Yeah, in some respects, the quarantining and being away from people has kind of brought us closer together. even though the communication has been from a distance via it be Zoom or text or, like you're saying, a drive-by. But, you know, I think we're reaching out a little bit, I guess, more in a heartfelt way.
True.
It's a little bit more profound, and maybe we're reaching out a little bit more often. It means something. I think people are starting to value the things that are important a little bit more than the things that they thought were important before COVID-19. And that's not a bad thing.
Yeah, we're definitely, you know, in this all together because we all have the same feelings and we're all expecting, I mean, what's going to happen next? So we're all in the same boat and it makes it easier. You're right about that.
Yeah. Okay, we're at the 15-minute mark. Anything else on that, or should I start this next segment?
You introduce yourself?
I will introduce myself. Hello, my name is Michael Graham with EXP Realty. And Morphia gave me a good topic. I didn't pick this myself, so if I botch it, it's absolutely her fault. But she said, you know, clients bring up this question all the time, and it really doesn't matter when they bring it up. They bring it up all the time, no matter if the market's up or down, no matter if we have a pandemic or we don't, no matter if there's 9/11 or not, or the stock market's high or low, or there's a Republican president or a Democratic president. They always say, well, should we wait? Or when is the best time to buy or sell? And so as salespeople, right, our job is to sell and make money and make our clients happy, right? So in the back of my mind, well, the thought is that the time is always now. And we got to be careful with that, I think, because then I take a step back and I say, well, it's not about me. It really is about my clients. So how can I explain this in such a way that makes sense to them, that gives them a lot of options and allows them the freedom to choose whatever they want, but I give facts and information in such a way that does make sense. And most of the time, in all honesty, for that actual client, the best time, I would say 90% of the time, is now. Why? Well, because they want to move, right? They want to sell their house and they want to go somewhere. And they don't know if they're going to get hit by a bus next week or next month, or they don't know if the market's going to go up or down. I mean, there's all these uncertainties of really what's going to happen. And this question came up the other day for a client. And I actually thought about it while I was on the phone. He said, well, should we wait? Is the market going to go down a little bit later? And my answer was this. I said, listen, we're in the middle of a pandemic. Some things have changed. There's uncertainty. Some sectors have really been affected, right? The entertainment industry, the restaurant business, the travel business, all those things are really getting affected. But there are a lot of people with jobs and job securities now and doing very well that still want to buy, still want to sell, still have to move up. There's still people getting divorced. There's still people dying. There's still people doing job transfers. So there's all these reasons why people need to buy and sell, and there's movement. And so my thought to him, I said, you know, you guys want to buy to live somewhere because you're living with your parents. Hi, Lou.
Hey, guys.
How you doing, man? Thanks for joining.
I just want to say I'm not smart enough to be with you guys.
Oh, yes, you are.
Stop, Lou.
You're the smartest because you're the oldest.
I can't belong in this group because I have an old saying. I would never join a club that would have me as a member. With that,
You could be the president, man. But, you know, we were kind of having this conversation about, you know, what that decision is, right? Like, should we wait? Is the market going to go down? And I thought about it for a minute and I said, you know, let's say the market does go down, right? Let's say the market on average goes down 5%. Maybe it even goes down 10% in the next 8 months or whatever on average. Well, what does that look like? Are more people buying in 8 months from now because the market on average has gone down? So what does that mean? When you're shopping for a house that on average is down 10%, but you have all these bidders against you because there's more buyers, Well, maybe that gets bid back up 10% or 5%, right? So are you really saving anything by waiting? Or, right now, interest rates are low. Right now, there's maybe a little bit less shoppers and less offers on a house. So you have an opportunity. And maybe right now, if you find the right house, you can make an offer and negotiate a little bit down and get that extra. But I also spun it in you could wait, but you can always find a deal in any market, right? There's always going to be a seller in a position that needs to sell now, and you could take advantage of that. And the last thing I shared was, this is the home that you're going to live in, that you guys have to be comfortable in and enjoy. So that should be the top priority, not necessarily, hey, how good of a deal or how cheap can I get? It's more about, where do I see myself living for the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years? And of course, the second questions are, is it a sound investment? Is it a good location? Is it somewhere that, if we turn it into an Airbnb or these other avenues? So really, I try to have an open discussion like this and bring up some different points and make them have the freedom to choose whatever they want, if it's wait or do now, but I make them feel comfortable that it's okay to do now, right? Because we never really know what's going to happen, and back to the COVID thing, this wasn't predicated on some sort of economic crash initially, right? There wasn't some war or some sort of thing that drove the economy down. It's really the pandemic, right, has stopped work, has stopped that cash flow for some of the sectors, and then that's kind of affecting it. But as we bounce back from this, and we will bounce back from this, I think we're going to be okay. I don't think that the real estate market is going to take a nosedive like it did in 2008. And I could be wrong on that, because I don't have a crystal ball. But I can already feel the market, specifically in Arizona, where we're at, just after us opening, more businesses and going into the second phase. I already see buyers out trying to buy. I mean, I just had one call me and say, hey, my daughter wants to move out of my rental, so you need to sell her a house. And then we want to sell the rental. And then after we sell that rental, we want to buy a new place up in Happy Jack. So it was like a 3 transaction. So there's people like that all over Phoenix that, regardless of the pandemic, if they actually have a job and they're making money or they have financial security, guess what? They're making moves, right? And that's happening. I've got a shopper in the 1.5 to 2 million range right now. And she favored 9 properties on my website, and within a week and a half, 4 of them went under contract. They're no longer, now 5 of them are all pending or under contract. So that's telling me that even in that higher price point, no, there's not people waiting, right? They want to live their life. They want to enjoy. I keep in touch with the people in the Airbnb sector, right? Hey, what's going on? Yeah, it got quiet there for a little bit when you couldn't travel. Now all the Airbnbs are full and stacked. Why? Everybody's been quarantined. They can't wait to get out of their house and go on vacation and go experience life and do what they're doing. Some of them came down to Arizona because our rules were a little bit more relaxed than California or other states. And so they could come and stay in an Airbnb and swim and kind of enjoy and get a little bit outside, So yeah, I think that our real estate market is moving. It will continue to, and we just have to figure out how to find the balance between being safe about it, right? Wearing our masks and not doing stuff that we don't necessarily have to do, right? Like showing property to somebody who calls on a sign call, we don't even know who they are, right? I would say scale it back and let's lead generate and let's get these leads, but let's figure out how to qualify them first for our health and for our time, so that we're making sure that they're pre-qualified or that they're not working with another agent already or those types of things. And I know sometimes we have to take a little bit of risk and put our time out there to be able to show that we're trying to earn their business and then lock them down. So, which is one of the things that I'm trying to get back to and work into my business is on the buyer side. How am I going to approach people again about signing a buyer broker agreement? Because especially in a pandemic, when I'm out risking my health and my family's health to show property and see people, right? You know, how do I protect myself from, I've showed this guy 8 properties, I've met him twice, and now he just stumbled upon an open house. We don't have a buyer broker, and he buys it through this agent because the agent said, well, if you don't have an agent, we'll just cut the commission. You know, I'll do it for a cheaper rate, blah, blah, blah. And that person goes that way. So trying to think about how I'm going to work that back into my business, because I've gone for 16 years. I've used to get buyer brokers quite a bit and then not as much. And then, you know, so there's been this ebb and flow of, you know, and it's like, sometimes we don't feel like it's appropriate or something. And then sometimes we do. And I think more often than not, I think our clients respect us for getting it. And I think that they feel like we have a level of professionalism that maybe not all agents do. And if we can show that and merit it, those clients will stick with us, not only because it says it so on a piece of paper, but because we had the courage to have that conversation with them up front, rather than 6 months later when they're like, sorry, man, I found a house through another agent. They were just sending me stuff and, you know, we weren't finding anything. So I had to find it on my own. And so I've gotten a little off a topic, but I thought those things were kind of relevant to having these conversations with clients, right? Like what to say to them when they ask us certain questions and how to kind of protect our relationship with them, so to speak. So I'm at 10 minutes and 45 seconds. I'm going to open it up for other comments and questions.
You know, Mike, I like the fact that you brought up buyers brokers agreements, because I brought it actually up with my partner, Lou. And people, I don't think people do it intentionally. The consumers, they're just all over the place. They're talking to you. Next, you know, they might be calling another property. They see your sign out there, the number, they call that agent. They go to an open house. They start chatting with them. Then they go look at the property with that other agent. And like you said, it's also, if you bring it up in a way that I'm here to protect myself and my family, and the same thing for you too. You'll be dealing directly with me instead of being out there with, you know, 2-3 different agents. And we need to educate them because, like I said, they are just not aware of how it works. Let's say, for example, Zillow calls. How many times do I get calls and they think I'm the listing agent? Meanwhile, they do have an agent. Like I got a call yesterday, and I introduced myself and I talked to him, and he says, I'd like a video tour of this property. And I said, great. I said, you know, I asked for a time. And then he said to me, are you the listing agent? I said, I am not the listing agent. I'm the buyer's agent. And then he says, you know what? I do have an agent I've been working with for quite some time. He goes, I guess maybe I should call them for the video tour. I said, you owe it to your agent. You should call them up and ask for the video tour. So I think I've never done buyer brokers agreement. My 10 years, my partner Lou in 25 has never done them, and he doesn't like doing them. But I really think that I'm going to start doing them as well. You need to have that security. And it's not only that, if you're going to work, for example, with, let's say 5 people at one time, you want to know that we're working together. I'm loyal to you. You're loyal to me. And I will give you all the attention that you deserve, instead of being, having 10 different people and they're wishy-washy, and it's waste your time. You're wasting their time, to be honest with you. And it's just not a good use of your time, period.
Right. I have there's a sales script, how to do a buyer broker presentation, and lock that down, and I'll share it with you guys. I've got to get back and go through it again, because I think it's going to be more relevant for me and my business. Last year when the market was really tight, even in the 600,000 range, I had a buyer that they were my seller. I sold their house. I did a really good job selling their house and getting them a free lease back in their house for months, so they had time to find another house. And we showed them property with my showing agent and myself, kind of tag teaming it for 4 or 5 months, and weren't having any luck finding them anything. And one day I was busy. It just so happened to be that I was on a golf course on the Friday, which was really added insult to injury. But he drove by a house. He took a picture of a sign. He said, hey, call this. So I called it, and I talked to the agent. I said, hey, I've got a buyer. He's looking, blah, 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 blah. Well, anyway, he just called off the sign, like shortly after that, and then saw it directly with the agent. Well, the agent was representing his brother selling that house. And he told him, well, if you don't have an agent, then you don't have to pay a 3%.
Correct.
And then, hey, Ben, if you want to mute your thing. If you want to mute your Zoom, Ben. There he went. He did it. So anyway, but yeah, so this agent did that. He actually said, well, if you don't have an agent, and then they're like, well, we actually do have an agent, but he dangled this. It was 3% of $1,600,000, so it was $18,000. He basically, and my buyer's like, okay, I've been shopping for houses. I haven't had luck getting anything. We like this one, and I can get 18 grand off by not using my agent. I'm going to cut him out of the deal.
Yeah.
I know we're friends, but he's got to be my friend too, and my wife's pregnant, so he's got to understand. So it was like it was a tough one, and I had a resentment against it for a while, but I had to forgive him and forget about it and know that that was my fault. I didn't handhold enough, and I wasn't sharp about the buyer broker agreement. And about looking for property for them, you know, I was just doing that mindless. You're on an auto search. You can find stuff on Zillow all the time and the auto search, and you're just going to call me when you want to see property. Well, that wasn't enough, right? He was driving around neighborhoods looking for coming soon signs, which are a killer for us, right? A coming soon sign is our death sentence if we don't have a buyer broker with somebody.
You're right.
Because
Definitely.
they're going to drive by, coming soon, call the listing agent. Listing agent is like, yeah, you know, if they have that type of business, they can just sell it, you know. And man, we lose a lot of hours. I lost a lot of hours on that deal.
I had someone, that was a Zillow call again, and said, well, if you're not the listing agent, I don't want to work with you. I'll go direct to the listing agent. And I said, can I ask you why? I knew where he was getting at. He says, because he says, I probably don't have to pay buyer's commission. So he says, why shouldn't I do it? I said, you can do that. I said, but I'll tell you one thing. You're going to lose out on representation, because that agent you're going to call, they're representing the seller. Their loyalty, as I see it, is to their seller, right?
Right.
So where does it benefit you if they're doing a dual agency?
Of course. Yeah, of course. Oh, and on that deal, I mean, I brought it up a bunch of different ways on how I could still kind of fit in the deal. And at the end of the day, I was like, nah, I was even offering them like, you know, hey, you know, I'll give you a break on the commission or a discount so that I can represent you. So you have somebody representing you, and you're not getting representation from a guy that's representing his brother. He doesn't care about you. He just wants to get the deal done and make his commission. But it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. And I don't know if I would have had better luck with a stranger than a friend, because I think friends and families tend to step on you and over you even more than strangers. Have you guys found that?
I think their expectations are extremely high.
Yeah.
Their expectations are really high, right? They're like,
Definitely.
you're my friend, you owe me.
Yeah.
Give me a discount. Anyway.
For sure. Well, send us that that link to that, or the script that you have.
Yes. It's on a little like recorded voiceover thing. So we're at 17 minutes for that piece. So I'll stop this. We've done over an hour for these 4 topics. This was really helpful for me. And I hope it was helpful for you guys too.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Maybe we'll be famous, and this is going to be on some sort of bigwig real estate network on the world.
But on YouTube.
Doubt it. Massively doubt it.
You never know. People watch a lot of stuff online.
Well, Ben will finish the recording out. We've lost Ben due to technical Spanish speaking difficulties.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys. But hey, thank you guys all for your time. Anything else anyone wants to add?
I'm good.
I think this was great.
Yeah, I
Thank
loved
you
it.
guys. And keep well and keep safe and keep working.
That's right.
All right.
Yeah, those things.
Thank you, guys.
All right.
Thank you,
Bye.
Ben.
Thank
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye, guys.